To worship is to change. I think that's a good little quote in some ways, that to truly worship, to truly have an encounter of God and be impacted by him is to change. And if if that's to change us, that's to draw our eyes outside of the church walls and into the world. And I think that exchange is vital, that the worship that we sing on a Sunday or whenever it is in Christian meetings, even on our own, in our bedroom or in our cell group, that has got to lead us to the lost and to the world that is around us, that is desperately in need of a saviour and in need of hope and freedom and all those kinds of things. So for us, the challenge is to make sure that our worship doesn't stop at the church doors, and that it actually takes us far beyond that, into the communities, into the groups of people that God has placed us in, whether that's school, college, work, or whether that is literally, being Jesus to people on the streets. And again, listening to whether he might have a word for somebody while you're walking down the high street or whatever. But ultimately it's to draw us to a place of compassion for the world that we live in, and also a passion for those that are lost and that don't know him. We just have this, almost that our worship should lead us to the last, the least and the lost. And that kind of is very broad, but it involves, everyone that is in desperate need of hope, that we have as Christians, Christ in us, the hope of glory, and that's a huge privilege that we carry that, and that God has trusted us to communicate that with other people. And so, if we just worshipped and had no regard for the last, the least and the lost, it would be very self-indulgent. And likewise, if we just spent all our time doing social action projects, but had no time where we were intimate with Jesus, feeding our relationship with him, that's self-defeating. And again, you've kind of lost the purpose of doing all that social action in the first place. So it's got to be the two working together, and I think that's the way God designed it to be, that our worship would draw us out to the streets, and the things that we see on the streets would also draw us back to worship.